morning. It's good. Stellt sich Shabbos Bereshis, so stellt sich the best way to start learning Sunday morning. Baruch Hashem, we're starting again. So 3 Sheilos today. One Bala Shaila asked to be called. He didn't know that we're going to talk about the Shaila, but he said he wants to be Mishnah, but it didn't go. The phone didn't call up. Fine. So Zorach asked a question. He has a customer that has 3 apple trees, and the thing is, he says that there is this fungus that goes from cedar trees to apple. He says it's a big problem in Long Island, and it's very hard to treat with this fungus. So the trees got this fungus, and the trees look chaloshes, and the apples look chaloshes, and the people that own the property, the gates and the Lincoln Piazza, they really don't care about the apples. The apples is just a job for one of their workers to collect and throw in the garbage.
They want to cut it down?
They want to cut it down. Now, why does he want to cut it down? There's a problem on the property. You need a tractor to come in and to fix it up. It's a job that really needs work. How does the tractor get into the property? As I said in Yiddish, the cat saved the vasa. So how do you get in? So he says the only way to get in is either he rips out some hedges, which is going to be an unbelievable headache to put it back and make sure the grass, and the grass or the hedges don't grow back quick enough. The customer is not happy, and the ikid is that his customer is satisfied. And then in the back of the property, these 3 trees, the gates and the shtan, they say whack him, take him away. We don't want those trees anyway. Those apples look ugly, and they don't eat the apples. So Shiloh, and they're Yid. They're Yid. Yiddish couple. He's a doctor, and they're wealthy people, but they're Yid. So Shiloh. I didn't say it would be a Shiloh. I'm telling you how he asked that Shiloh. Sometimes from the way a person asks a Shiloh, you can see what he wants. Not only what he wants, but what he doesn't realize. Sometimes the person asks a Shiloh, and you realize there's other issues going on that obviously in his mind that the goy is no problem because the goy is your property. But that's the way he asked the question. Okay, so first let's go through the Alter Rebbe Shulchan Aruch, and I think there's a few the chidushim that are very boiler to the Alter Rebbe Shita. There is a practice in Borough Park when people want to build and expand their house. So they have these companies. Right? They take out the tree and they replant it somewhere. So obviously Zara thinks that's not obviously, but Zara thinks that it's a farce, unless he had the business. He says, wow, what a business it is. He says they bring those trees somewhere in the upstate. None of them live because he says to replant the tree is an unbelievable mumchashaf. Yeah, you could take the tree with the sand and dump it somewhere and put a ton of water, but that tree should live, not for another 6 months or 6 weeks, but it should live for another few years and give fruit. It's kosher k'kriyas yamsuf. He says
that doesn't have to be that way.
Oh, that's the shayla. Good. But he's saying
it's never going to live.
It's never going to live. Unless you're an expert. And he says if you're an expert, also lav davke. That's his expertise, to replant trees.
Right.
And he claims
replant living trees, good trees.
Good trees.
That the soil that it's going to go to is known to be adaptable.
Right. Now here, he says it's just a joke. He says the property, it's like the garden. They dump the trees. The guy officially waters them. He says they all die. So that's part of his ha'oris klal on this whole industry. He says he doesn't understand. If it's a sakona, because Klal Yisrael know very scared about this. There's a concept that's called the Gemara says in Baba Kamal and Tzadik Aleph. Chanina says Lo Yimeis Shavchas B'ri Elav Mishum Shutatzatz Le'ilam. The Forshim say it's an unbelievable thing. He must have been such a tzaddik, his son, that he was able to say that his son died for no other reason, only because the father cut a tree. It's unbelievable. He knew his son
or a
fruit-bearing tree. So we'll talk about any tree in a moment, but now we're talking about fruit-bearing tree. There is this thing in Tzavos of Yehuda Choset where he writes not to cut any fruit-bearing tree. All the Mefarshim say the same thing about the Savos and Chosid. What's the Chiddush? It's a Gemara Mefarshim. So they all say, I'll tell you what the Chiddush is. Because the Gemara says sometimes it's mutter. So Kamash from the Chosid, even when you know 100% it's mutter, don't do it because it's dangerous. As I learned the Velt of Pshat. So that gives room for this whole. I never understood what's this industry in Barba. People they have these trees. Two fruits are growing on them, and they need to expand their house. And we'll learn soon that if you need to expand your house, it's a heter borur. It's not a shayla. So why are they all spending so much money? The Zohar tells me this guy is
crazy expensive.
Unbelievable. He's not parnasa from this. This guy is. He says he would love to do the same business. He doesn't believe in it, but if it would be a business, he says it's Shkapela.
Edit that out.
But now I understand why they're doing it, because Rabbi Yehuda Chosid said you're not allowed to cut a tree. The Mefarshim say he meant even when it's 100% mutter, don't cut it because it's dangerous. And I found last night that I don't believe what today you can find. I don't believe where you go. But I always heard this thing that the early Yisrael were very scared. So I found all the Makoides for it. So it's serious stuff. There's the Minchas Salazar writes from the Zayda. I saw one of the Hungarian Sheilos and Chuvas. So he writes he was in Hungary by Choshev, and someone asked him about a tree. He says, "Oh, we know a Kabbalah from the Darki Tshuva that it's a big chash sakona for the Rov who paskins and the maker." And he said, he says, "Arisel aloch lamaisa madmoir agon mesavmer." Probably means, I'm not sure which agon mesavmer. Oh, Kenzan Rav Grimwald, right? Kenzan Rav Grimwald. There was not for today yet, but there's some asugya that we did and I never got into it because it was. But there's a moedik chidush in the beginning of Hilchot Bechzanen. There's a girl that has a big time. The belt passes that way about and the Alter Rebbe didn't see the girl. All the moments that two kuntas actions Alter Rebbe verändert als alle kashas the girl has. Velt's kashas and the Alter Rebbe paskins like the Rosh, not like the Rajma. It's a machlokes and something that Bechzanen. And this guy, this Grimwald, is a beautiful tshuva. It's mazda the Alter Rebbe shita kafta v'vera. Canon David, unbelievable. So
no,
I don't think Grimwald. I don't think he had children. So I can't. But maybe it's a shlocha. So he went to Agon Misatmer, and he told him, and it was a mutter gomer. He said, bring the other two dayanim in the city, and together he didn't want to take the whole responsibility on himself. So, and they said also from the Yismach Moshe that you can't play around with Savos and Yehuda Chosid. So I'm just saying, I understand why in Bar Park there is this whole thing, but it really is expensive. There's this tiny tree giving no fruits. The guy wants to build a house, and then they spend a huge amount of money because they're scared about Savos and Yehuda Chosid. So, Zarek asked me the Shaila many times in different forms. I figured, let's look at the Shaila. Let's look at the Alter Rebbe Shulchan Aruch.
So, I mean, he just doesn't want to lose this business.
Right.
If he said they'll go find someone else to do it.
Right. So he said like this.
Even
He
on
has
the
an
property,
option.
can't even ask them on the whole same property. I'll just move it onto the same property. Would you let me do that? Everybody's legal.
I'm sure the answer is no, because it's a huge mess, and they don't want it anyway. So you're gonna. He said that he told them that they're Jewish, and he's going to charge them an extra $2,500 to move the 3 trees to his property. He says the worst thing in the world for him is this headache. It's not worth this $2,500, but he can charge them more.
They're great customers.
And right, so he says, I can charge him more, but it's the biggest headache. I wish you could tell me that I could just whack him again. And he says, I told my customer that if I'm going to call the rabbi, if you're lucky, the rabbi is going to say I can whack him. I'm telling people to join him. I can whack him, and I'll save you $2,500. So that was a shayla. 1 second.
What happened if I want the tree in the house? But I'm cutting it's in the house, I'm not cutting the tree. But once I leave it in the house, I'm not giving it to that's going to die.
Right, this is part of the shayla. This is my shayla now.
Okay, they did a land house.
Because
the land house, when they had a fire
yeah.
on East 9th Street, the same lot that's still there, 9th and Avenue L, a guy named Pinter, and they rebuilt their shul temporarily on his site, and they left the fruit tree. It was growing in the shul.
I'll tell you, sorry, I think.
But it was getting water from below because it was in an empty lot. So maybe different than a ground shul.
Oh, if you're Menea Amas Hamayim, you're not allowed to be Menea Amas Hamayim. So if you're Menea Amas Hamayim, that's the bottom line. You're not allowed to.
Well, but usually trees get water from as wide as their branches spread. So, like I have a tree that has very little amount of water to get to it, except for one spot, and it's living for 100 years. So, you're saying that even if you're manea in one spot, you can get it from the other spot.
I hear. Okay. If it's in a case where you're Menea Amas Hamayim, it's also.
Yeah.
I guess
it's very rare.
It's rare that you're Menea Amas Hamayim.
Because unless it's a new tree.
But if you look around it, the tree's getting water from the top somewhere.
That's what I'm saying, right?
Usually, if you go to usually
If it's a younger tree, but if it's a huge tree, like the tree they had there was over the roof. All the branches.
So that's why I want to look inside. Then it's a danger. And the Gemara says that his son died because he cut a tree that has fruit.
And still they're giving lousy fruit.
So it's not just like
It's not edible.
Right. There's two parts to the mitzvah. There's the danger and the loitaseh.
Then it would have been dead.
Let's learn it inside. Zog the Alter Rebbe, Shulchan Aruch Harav, Hilchos Shmiras Guf Nefesh, Sif Yudalet, Tezvav and Tezayin. Let's read it. Shem Shetzorech Lizar, the Guf Shalal Abdi V'Lo Kalkulay. Just like you have to be careful with the goof of a person, you're not allowed to ruin it, and V'Lo Lazika, you're not allowed to damage it. Kach Tzorech Lizar B'M Oido. A person has to be very careful with his money. Oid could also mean money. Shalal Abdi V'Lo Kalkulay Lazika, not to ruin it, not to damage it. The Rebbe has a moiridik diuk over here that why does Alter Rebbe say just like you're not allowed to damage your goof, the same thing you're not allowed to damage property. The Rebbe has a whole pupil out of this because he says the Harabayis that the Ish Harabayis, if the guy was sleeping, he used to burn his clothing. All the Gedolei Olam talk about this. The Kashis. The Rebbe says that just like it's a mutter for a person to fast, a tiny shul tshuva, even though his mazik is goof, because it's tayelas. So the Ish Harabayis, it was for tayelas, since this person was supposed to do the job. So it was his tayelas, therefore he was allowed to do it. But from this chiddush in the Rebbe says, for me, this is a kula and a huge chomer at the same time. Why is this a huge chomer at the same time? Because I was thinking the whole time to tell Zarach, oh, you know what, just whack it through a guy. Why through a guy? Let me tell you what I was thinking. Afterwards, I looked at Sheilos Shuvas. I see a lot of boys can think about this idea. It's not it's just reinventing the wheel. But what was my thinking? My thinking was like this: it's a chashayla if there's a midah lanochri for all the surim shebetoyre. It's a gemara. So it's a whole shak of the time. The gemara doesn't have a maskon at the end. The gemara does not have a maskon. So machlokes rishonim lapoil. Is there a midah lanochri for all these isurim? At Shabbos we know it's also to tell a goy to do. How about to tell a goy to do the gemara says chilayim or chasoim poroscha bedisha? You know what? Don't be fool. Take your cow. Don't let him eat when it's doing on the field. So I'm allowed to tell this to a goy. So the Shakal Tay Gemara doesn't have a maskona. So some Rishonim say it's awesome, some say it's mutter. Shchalorach Paskin it's awesome. However, the later poets can say that's only if you ask him to do Isser Deiraisa.
Oh.
But if you ask him to do Isser Derabon, Shabbos is not allowed to ask him to do Isser Derabon. Chas v'shalom. But on other Isurim, if you ask him to do Isser Derabon, it's gefährlich.
Who said that?
That's in the Shulchan Aruch, it's in Choshen Mishpatz, in a few places where the Shulchan Aruch paskins Chumrah, but then the Neisikelim say if it's the Rabbanon, it's Mutter. So a lot of the Sheilos of Tshuva say in the cases where it's like, iffy here and that, it really should be Mutter, but the person's scared of Sakona. So you know what? Tell a guy to do it and have in mind that he's not your shliach. Maybe even say it, mutter it under your breath. This guy has from one of the Sheilos of Tshuvas, he says you should say it befeidish. You should say v'yoyma befeidish she'enu roitza sheyasa agoy b'shlichusay v'shchash sakona yochel aroish agoy v'tzadik b'tzor nechlitz v'yov v'achet achet.
Sound the Trump.
It's a machloikis for advade. Yisur de reisa we pass from the chumrah. So the poskim say, if it's a shaila, it's not really, it's this. So just send the goy to do it. Yeah, let the goy do it. Yeah.
Madach by chametz, which is the ricer, you're allowed to sell it to a goy and leave it by, and then you're not over by your Marsov. Over here, where it's only the rabbanon, what's the shaila? You can't. Why should you be able to sell?
Because he's doing it for the yid. He's doing your shulchus for you. You're selling it. He's allowed to have chametz. Your chametz,
Right. So he's allowed to chop down a cherry tree.
Now he's allowed to chop down the cherry tree if it's his. My child is if I'm allowed to tell him to chop down my cherry tree.
No. Why can't he be mafkir with the cherry tree and then tell it go Jew?
Oh.
The Jew doesn't want this cherry tree.
So let me tell
it's
you.
a dead cherry tree.
Oh, so
he's selling it to the goy.
Good cash. Very good cash. You're asking a good cash. So my answer is the deal over here. I found stam. I didn't find that any of the true poskim, the all acharonim that say this thing about a goy. I didn't find any gedolei poskim saying it. I mean, others say it, but
say what?
So that the goy could do it. But I'm not sure. I'm not convinced that it's mutter for a goy. I think maybe it's from the Sheva Mitzvahs that it's also for a goy to cut a tree. Let me explain to you what I'm thinking here. The goy has to keep Sheva Mitzvahs b'nei Noach. Now the pasuk says, it will be the next piece here, as ach dimchem lanafshesechem edrish. That the Eibusha says that if a person is going to damage themselves, and this was a mitzvah to the goyim, to the b'nei Noach, that the Eibusha says you're not allowed to damage yourself. You're not, to the extent that the Rebbe has a chidush, and why did Avraham Avinu not do the milah? He was commanded because there was a beferish isur. Ach dimchel nafshesechem edrish. He wasn't allowed to be mazik his guf. How much blood comes out when you do a bris milah? Put on the band-aid. But still, it was a isur deraisa to be mazik. The Eibusha told him to do the bris. It was mutter. Until the Eibusha told him to do the bris, it was also. That's to a goy. Avraham Avinu didn't have the din of a yid.
It's part of the Sheva.
It's part of the Sheva mitzvahs.
You're not allowed to damage.
You're not allowed to mutilate himself.
But here the goy is not mutilating himself.
Oh, but the Alter says
he's going to get a bonus. Hector, his Hector, he's going to get a bonus to knock it down.
But the word is, the Alter Rebbe says that the same issue of lahazik gufay is lahazik mamoinoi. So a goy is not allowed to mazik his guf.
But it's not being mazik the goy's guf or his mamono because this tree is worthless.
Oh, that we'll get to in a minute.
So it's not a no, but it's not a he knows that there's life, there's chayas in every cherry tree. So to violet and that it's living, there's a certain chayas that you don't want to check with. Goy doesn't know that, so there's not even value to a goy.
Okay, look, I agree in the case. I'm talking in the case where it's clearly awesome. I agree in the case where it's on the stage, under this.
That would be the best way to sell to a goy.
Let the goy do it. But I think in the case where it's 100% awesome, in some cases it's 100% awesome.
Right.
So I think over there, first of all, we paskin that you're not allowed to ask a goy to do a isur. You're not allowed to make a goy a shliach to do an isur. But even if you're going to say you'll do a trick, you'll be mafka the tree, it's not your shliach, whatever. If in the case where it's a isa deraisa beyond reasonable doubt, so I'm not sure that the goy is allowed. You're not allowed to tell a goy to go kill another goy because it's one of the Sheva mitzvahs. You're not allowed to tell a goy to do avodah zarah. You're allowed to tell a goy to eat nevela because he's allowed to eat nevela.
But it's not for him ahead. In other words, if he realizes that it's monetarily more beneficial to get rid of this tree than not. So it's not an Averis. How about Tashkas?
That's what I'm saying. If it's monetarily more worth it, I'm allowed to do it. Elamai, I'm a little nervous. If you're the assets, I'll get the goy. I agree. Good. No problem. A shaila is when it's the good cherry tree, and everyone agrees that this is an expensive good cherry tree. Am I allowed to tell a goy to do it?
If it's wife is worth it to him,
it's not worth it. Not in Zorach's case. In the case where Stamazoi.
But I'm saying even where it's a good cherry tree. Let's say cherries make $100 a year on cherries.
And I want to cut it for no reason.
No, there's got to be a reason.
Say I'm talking a theoretical case. I want to cut it for no reason at all.
Crazy.
Because I want to it gets me nervous. I
want to clean lawn.
Straight lawn. Exactly. I want black grass. I don't want shade. So I'm saying that it's not clear to me that a goy is allowed to cut trees. When soon the goyim are going to come to us and ask us to teach all the Sheva mitzvahs b'nei Noach,
bad chiluf for the ekabekers.
Let's continue down.
You're saying that's
When they get to Zera,
I'm saying in a goy, when it's 100% also to do, maybe it's also for the goy also. I'm not sure. Maybe because a goy is not allowed to damage his body. So if the Alter Rebbe is comparing damaging your body to damaging the tree, just like this is also, that is also. So a goy who's not allowed to damage his body, perhaps is not allowed to damage his trees. I don't know.
So maybe the guy, you can't give him Erev Pesach 18 hours of work because you're damaging his body.
However, you can't give him all your money.
What?
What if he did
Oh, so the same thing with the tree. Give him a super bonus. Tell him, you move this tree, you're going to get $150 more than a
bad job. Bad job.
He's not allowed to do it regardless.
Everything's money.
Yeah, bad job. Call him a Shabbat, Caleb, I could have got him ahead. You know, says some mine. 3 lines from the top, now that he's lost. A person that breaks or tears or destroys a building, or says some mine, he stops a river. Oy, not a mine is not a river, a spring. Oy ma'abed macholas, or mashkoz. He throws out food or drink, or masan, or he makes a repugnant, or zorik mostly, but he throws money. V'chenem a kalpul shor, cold over roy, lehonas by b'nei adam. The person that kalpul things that are roy, that b'nei adam will have an off from it. Oy b'beloi ta'asa, shenem aloi tashchas ha'sa'itza. I'll tell you about the Torah al shal noachim, shenol kamim imahem. The Torah was mazen in the goy's property, that the goy is fighting with me a war, and the Torah says, "Loi tashchas etzeitza." You're not allowed to be mashchas the eitzim in order to that the goyim who are fighting against me should be depressed that I'm cutting down their trees. Tal v'chayim shall yisrael afilu shall hefker, that you're not allowed to cut down a tree that belongs to the yid, even if it's hefker. There's a sefer called Shivim Timonim. He took Rabbi Yehuda Chosid, which is like a pamphlet, like this amount of pages, the whole Rabbi Yehuda Chosid, it wasn't Rabbi Yehuda Chosid, and he made out of the sefer this thick, because he wrote ha'oris on it. So
It can really be endless.
Kolatar is that way, but there are people that take Rishonim. It's a style. Take Rishonim. They put it down. They take Rishonim. Don't put it on loudspeaker.
Don't block the camera.
So there is such a thing of making a sefer, and you put the take a rishon and you explain it, and you spend a lot of time. So he brings this guy Shimon Tmonim is a sefer on the Tzavos of Yudah Chosid, and he writes unbelievable chidushim from the Alter Rebbe. One of them is from this brackets. He says that the Alter Rebbe here in this brackets and for Abel's Kasha from the Mishnah Lamalach. The Mishnah Lamelech asks that why is it that a person, the Rambam Paskins, gets malchus for cutting a tree with fruit, but doesn't get malchus for throwing out the leftover chon after Shabbos. Why? What's the difference? So Shakal Matayas and the Ksichnish. He says the Alter Rebbe just to answer the question. That's what the Alter Rebbe added these words with the Kal V'chomer. The Gemara Makkah says, "Ein unshim min adin." Any din that you learn from the Kal V'chomer, it's a din deiraisa. But you can't give a oynish when it's learned from a Kal V'chomer. That's what the Alter Rebbe is saying. The Torah says you're not allowed to cut a fruit tree. From Kal V'chomer, from that we learn you're not allowed to ruin anything that's valuable. Ein unshim min adin. That's what the Alter Rebbe went this whole thing saying that it's a Kal V'chomer. In the Ha'oris, which some of them might have been written by the Alter Rebbe's brother, he writes, "Lefizeh loy kosher midi." So this guy writes, "What's the lefizeh? What my brother said? This is a kal v'chomer loy kosher midi." The old Meforshim ask, "Why you only get malchus for cutting a fruit tree and not for throwing out bagels?" The answer is because ain't oinshim min adin. Stop at it. It's interesting.
But you shouldn't throw out.
See that the Alter Rebbe's lashon, that there were poskim that spent time in the Alter Rebbe's lashon, and they found chidush, chitilim shel chidushim, and
He said it was like a rishon.
Right.
I'm trying to say
that you can't give a punishment for halacha that you learned out from a kal v'chomer. If the Torah says don't chop a fruit tree, and a person chops a fruit tree, he gets malchus. But we say, Madach, you're not allowed to chop a fruit tree, you're not allowed to throw out bagels. So if I catch someone throwing out a dozen bagels, can I give him malchus? No, because ain't oinshin min adin. You can't.
It's an aveda.
It's an aveda, for sure. I feel like I've also even if he wants to show his family that he's angry, he's not allowed to do something to break. Again, all level Parsha has a few Gemaras. They say that. They say the Alter Rebbe learns that they broke things that are already broken. The family didn't know, but to break something really valuable, just to try to prove that you're angry, is also, even though you're not angry. Then a person's really angry. If you're ruining it, If you're cutting a tree because you want to be metaken, it's mutter if there's no other choice, only by trapping this tree. Going, for example, a tree that gives food, that's weakening the ground, and damages the other trees. The other trees are better. So if this tree is damaging the other trees, so then you're allowed to chop it. So the Gemara says that Chisda had his worker bring him a basket of dates, figs. One story is dates, and one story is figs. Chisda and Nachman. But bottom line, both stories are the same. He tasted the figs and he said, "Oh, it tastes like grapes." So he says, "Yeah, because they're starting to grow next to each other." He says, "What? You're telling me my date trees are ruining my grapes? Whack them tomorrow. Cut all the trees. I want you to cut all the trees."
That are near each other.
Yeah. So the Gemara, and then the Gemara says another story that he says the Nachman says, "What? That was date trees. Cut all the date trees." He says from wine. Huh? No,
It's just that roots would be
Kilayim would
roots.
not be trees. If it's trees, not Kilayim. Kilayim was only Zeroim. Kilayim was only Zeroim. These are trees. Big trees.
Trees, no problem.
Right.
Just seeds.
Yeah. So, but this guy, Chizan of Nachman, said that you know what? He said to his worker, with grapes you can make wine, and with wine you can make a lot of money, and you could buy gufni koni dikli loy koni gufni. With the money I make from making this wine, I can buy anasa fields with trees. But from selling dates, you're not making a lot of money. So, in other words, he said, how could you allow that these trees should ruin the grapes? Interesting shayla. Tosfos says that the Fedish Gemara that when a woman brings nechasim to her husband, you have to buy michsa balug. You have to buy. You can't just keep the money in your wallet. They have to invest it in something which is everlasting. If you get divorced, the woman gets that nechasim back. So the Gemara says you should buy a field that has the column, dates, because dates, they grow, trees are low maintenance. The Gemara says not to buy trees of the vine. The vine, you just told me now, the Gemara says that the vine is the most expensive type of tree. Tosfos says, if it's your field, and you're going to spend a lot of time cultivating the grapes, and a bottle is going to cost $100, then the best thing to have today in Israel is wine, and they import and they export the wine all over the world, $100 a bottle.
Well, it's very risky.
But if it's his wife's nechos and he doesn't know if the marriage is going to last, why would he spend time with that vine? So the grapes are not going to be even worth $1.39 a pound. Better buy a field with the column, with the dates. The dates is not low maintenance. We don't trust all men.
While you're dating, it's low maintenance. By the way, that's where fake came from. You have a fig and a grape, it becomes fake.
So let's continue. So the Alter Rebbe says one kula. If this fruit tree is ruining other trees, again inside, if it's ruining other trees, if you need to build in that space, or it's blocking the light from the window. So here you have a heter. It's interesting, the Alter Rebbe holds, the Rosh says, if you need the space, you're allowed to build. The Alter Rebbe says it's only if you want to build, mamish, a house. But it's interesting, the Alter Rebbe doesn't make a condition. What kind of house? I don't know. There's a person will talk about it. But
one second. Mapilus haloin. That's in this case. It's mapilus haloin. It's unsightly. What is it? Mapilus haloin? It's making my window darker. It's making my view darker. What's the difference between a view? It's this, but it's an ephemeral. What's the word? Ethemeral.
It hurts my eyes.
Ephemeral. It's an ephemeral. Intangible hano light, and so is a view.
A person's house is dark.
No, but it's not dark. It didn't say map. It doesn't say it takes it black. It doesn't say mashcha.
It's a chiddush dover that the Alter Rebbe. This is the marker from this is a tshuva in Chavas Yor, where he says if it doesn't mamish make your house dark, don't cut it. And if you can cut just 2-3 branches, instead cut 2-3 branches. The Alter Rebbe doesn't bring that condition.
Right.
Could be the Alter Rebbe is being more makeful. I don't know. I'm just telling you that all the poskim, for example, Rabbi Yosef has a famous tshuva. he says you could only make an extension to your house and cut out a tree if you mamish don't have any more space in the bedrooms. But Stamazo, you want to have a playroom or this. Harvoche Ba'alma, the Bavadia Yosef says it's awesome.
Wow.
I don't think so, because the Alter Rebbe would make a condition of that. The Alter Rebbe says, anytime you want to build, in Tzorech Livnus V'M Koima, the Alter Rebbe didn't say that there's a condition if it's a playroom or a bedroom.
What if it's coming onto your porch? Trees is coming onto your porch.
If that's mafal ala chaloin, that would be mutter. If this wood is so expensive that if you're going to sell this wood, people are going to use it to make parquet floors or something. They use it to build.
Cherry wood is very expensive.
So now the fruits are going to give you less money than the. So then you're allowed to. I saw one of the Achronim say.
So maybe Zera should save the wood and make use of it. Iron clay is beautiful.
If Zarech would say that that wood could be used, that wood from the apple tree could be used for something more valuable than the fruits, no problem, you can cut down the tree.
How about to burn his chametz?
To burn the chametz, not. I'll tell you why, it looks so.
Because chametz, throwing out, you're doing about Parsha.
No, I'll tell you soon.
We're allowing you to throw out all your bagels for chametz.
It's a good question. I'll tell you about it in a second. But if he could say that he could build something out of it,
yeah, there's all machloekes about Lad Boimer, about people burning
clothing. Right.
The whole
Firewood,
machloekes.
So let's continue. Let's continue. So we said here, one second. If you want to be mekarka in your own guf, you're allowed to burn a table because you're cold and you want to. Only if you have no other wood. If you want to use it as firewood, it has to be that you have no other wood in the shed. It's not a joke. A person is in a sfina and he's shechting a chicken, but he has to be machas and he doesn't have any sand. We're going to get sand. So he's going to take a shirt and he'll burn it and he'll take the ashes. Offer of Efer is equal. So then you're allowed to. So if Zorach had no other firewood, that's a far-fetched thing. Then he's allowed to. But the other thing is, if you can say that the wood of this tree I could sell and make more money than the apples of this tree, so then it's mutter. Now I saw one achron that says that you have to calculate how much apples it's going to give from now till 30 years, till it's going to die, and make a calculate. The wood is more expensive than the apples from now till 30 years.
Sounds like there's barely any apples. They're horrible apples.
Anyway, it's horrible apples. So it's 0 plus 0 plus 0 is anyway 0. But to me, it sounds a little far-fetched. I would think that the pshat is that the money of the wood is more valuable than the fruit of one season, of 1 year. Not that you have to sit with a calculator and say, oh, well, average apple tree lasts for 30 to 50 years. So let's put it at 40 years. And what's my? You have to start going to economists to see the numbers of inflation and make a whole cheshbon. To me, that sounds so far-fetched.
How about if you?
Also, the price changes that.
Right. I'm saying it's
I have an idea. What if you cut it down for educational purposes? Let's say he comes on Lag Boimer with a float, past 770, puts it on one of those trucks and he wrote, George Washington did cut down this cherry tree. I did. And I did it to teach people about the halacha, and then he has a shear of Rabbi Marsov shear with a big screen going by something. That would be the best float of Lag Boimer.
Oh, yeah. But can you do 1 tree or 3 trees for that?
Whatever, the 2 that he has to cut down. This would be the most. This would be the most. Yeah, no, 1 to LA.
There's only one problem. Okay, so
we'll have the most. We'll have the kids. We'll have 10 screens every 5. The most.
No, we did once a float. We did once. Basically, Mendel did a float.
The Shechita float, right?
Right. We had the Gor Zevim Kevis. We had this lion, and we had a lamb, and then we shechted it that night.
It was alive?
It was.
You had it all?
Yeah.
And we had
nice barbecue.
What was the animal rights?
We had nice barbecue also.
Oh, they were on the float too, but they weren't in jail.
They were busy with capotes for
exactly. They're busy with capotes.
We had the super
Wow, yeah. The boards?
We had the what?
We had the super boards.
Boards, wow.
And you came to say, serious, my physiology, and we understood this how some answers are honest and such as bananas legs on the bottom like
Priceless.
Where's it now? Where's it now?
in your organization.
I give up.
So that's why you turn on Shabbos.
Priceless. I read the story.
Wow.
Unbelievable. I told her over the house.
Let's do last Kolimun Sarak, any Elon, which is not giving fruit. Mutter Lakoitz Afil Ein Tzarech L'Klal, even if you don't need the fruits. Even if you don't need the wood, because it's not giving fruit. V'chein Ila Michael She'iskim Ein Oisa Shu Ela Davar Muad She'ein Roy L'Troyach Boy. It's giving so little fruit, it's not Roy to be Toreach for this. I'm not sure if Kamos or Eichas would count for each other. For sure, if in Kamos it makes too little fruits, and it's not worth to be Toreach for the tree, you're allowed to chop it. V'chein Kol Kayotza V'Kol Kula Shor Dover V'Yilon Zayis Shoyse Roy V'Hakav Zeisim V'Dekolos of Kav Tamorim. If a decal tree has to make a full kav, but the zeisim, which are more valuable, even a roiva kav, it's also kotzesam. Then here comes the important line: the gam yesh sakona b'tzitzis ilameichel. This is sakona when you cut a fruit tree, like the Gemara says that the Chanina said loy mei shafchas b'ri ela the kotzatz the ilon. So it's a sakona. Elo al derech shenizbar l'mayla. Only if you do it al derech shenizbar l'mayla. To me, these words sound like a huge chidush, and then I found that it's kimat mefurish in the Rebbe in the Igris. What is the Rebbe saying here? He's saying there's a sakana to chop a fruit tree, but in the place where it's mutter because it's damaging other trees, or you want to build in that property, or you could sell this wood for more money than the fruit. Then there is no sakana. Read again the words. The gam yesh sakana b'tzitzas ilamaychel el al derech shenizbar l'mayla. If it's al derech shenizbar l'mayla, that's mutter because it's damaging other, or you want, then there is no sakana. And I saw tak in Igris Chelik Zayin that ever writes a letter to the Melech Kaplan. Weiss the Melech Kaplan was a gewaltige Talmud Chochem, was a Yeshiva, I think, about Yeshiva, and he was makel to someone to trap a tree, and he felt that Rachmana litzlan, he had a tragedy over it. He wrote to the Rebbe, now another Shaila came to him. So the Rebbe said, if you are mefakfik because you feel that you were once makel, and it's dangerous for you, you don't be makel. But Lamaisa, it seems like the case that you're writing is mutter, like the Alter Rebbe says, the yesh sakona b'tzitzas ilon ela dershin is bar l'mayla, and in that case, whatever, the Rebbe doesn't talk about which case it was, but it was a case where it was mutter. But what we see from the letter from the Rebbe, and we see from here that the Rebbe felt that it's when al pidin it's mutter, and there's no sakona. Not like all the Mefarshim will say that when it's osir, it's osir. When it's mutter, it's still a sakana. They say it's a tzvei dinim. There's when it's osir, and also sakana, and then when it's mutter, but still it's a sakana. And they say it's a whole spiritual thing because the neshamas hang out. Remember we did Birchas Elonos that Izal says that there's Elonos that the neshamas are hanging out there, and they need a tikkun, and you chopped it before you got the tikkun, you get into trouble with the wrong neshamas.
No, but I'm sure they go by 7 they'll get a tikkun.
Yeah, that's for sure. That's why so before you say dom of Yochanan means that there's such big tzaddikim that the tikkun happens quick. That there's such big tzaddikim. Yeah, for sure. No shy. No, from that Isa. But this is only according to most poskim. They say it's asur, and when it's mutter, it's sakana. That's why there's an industry in Borough Park to chop down, not to chop the trees, and someone's making a good living off it. But the Alter Rebbe holds that when it's 100% mutter, then no sakana. So if no sakana, why can't you do it? So in the case of Zorah, if it's the fungus is a sakana for other parts of the property, or the wood can be sold for more money than the fruits, or and that lease of property they want to build an expansion of the house, it's 100% mutter for Yid to do it. If it's in doubt, if it's nothing, he can do it, Yid can do it, no problem. If in the second case that the pool is not so clear, so then do it through a goy. If it's almost a clear isur, so then the only eitzah there is to uproot the tree and put it on a different property. Now the shaila is that allowed? So some poskim say that is allowed, but I didn't see that the poskim should discuss how long you need to make the elon live. I think that as long as you take it with the sand, it's good enough, and you don't have to be worried. As long as you're not moinea amasamai, you'll water it. The fact that you know it's going to die in a couple of days, a couple of weeks, it is lagabi orla. then this was a shayla also that Zorach once had. He bought a lemon tree, and he thought Machai has lemons now. The problem was that
3 years.
there was no sand. If you buy a tree and it has all the sand, so we say that the Shnei Orla is already counted. So I know that I have a cousin in Kfar Chabad that has the Pardes of the Soroigim. He showed me they have a whole trick that because they have to replant, because after 5-6 years the Soroigim are not nice. The Soroigim are nice from year 2, 3, and 4, and maybe 5, and that's it. Then the trees are not giving nice Soroigim. Was tut man though? So when the tree, he plants it right away in the field, but they're not going to live a winter in the field. They have to be in the nursery. So he takes it out with the sand, puts a bag, he puts it in the garage, the nursery, and he keeps it there for about 1.5 years. But Apidin, that 1.5 years is already counted for Orla. Then when he plants it, he loses like 1 year. Those Asarogim have to be thrown out, and then he's good. But if your tree is going with the sand, it's Lagabi Orla, it's considered that the tree is still alive. So that's if there's no cool. So again, first kula is if you have one of the 3 kulas the Alter Rebbe says, it's hurting other tree, the wood is more expensive, you want to build, chop the tree, no problem. If you think it might be mutter, just send the goy, let the goy have the problems on his head. And the third case is when it seems asur, so then you could pick it up, put it on a different property, don't be meinei amasamayim, make sure that that the water that you don't have to go out of your way to give it extra water and extra attention. But layesas eis, I would say, if you can get the goyish worker to do it, it's for sure better.
Oh, that's what I was going to ask you. You notice where you last third case, you should still sell it to the goy.
Yeah, I would say not sell it to the goy, have the goy do it, because anyway, the goy is a shayla. Some people can hold that there's not no shliach to goy. So he's doing it on his own. My telling him means nothing.
No,
it's
selling it.
It's
He
like
did it. Selling it.
No,
If maybe it's not shayla. We don't know. We don't.
Some places.
Oh, you're not a shliach. He said it's his.
What's the difference? A guy came in and he chopped my cherry tree.
He's saying it would be
No,
better
what
if
he's
it's his. Would it be better if
Man,
it's
Actually, market it to the guy.
Why not? No, we're not 100% sure that we don't know what the shear is.
I hear.
Since we don't know how long the shear is that the shear tree has to last, it could be 6 months, it could be 6 weeks, it could be 6 years. We don't know.
I hear. You say
so why not? In case you have this sakana, let the guy have this sakana.
Okay, but then it has to be that the owner of the property has to be marketed to the guy. You have to.
Right.
You have to. Okay, I don't know if these customers want to do that. You have to say that the customers that own the property, that they say, oh, the guy owns the tree. It's probably not hard to get him to say it.
Yeah.
Because what does he care?
Yeah.
He says, oh, I don't want to own that tree. It's a legal problem. It's religious problems.
Yeah, he makes.
I don't want to own the tree. Jose owns the tree. You're giving it as a gift to Jose, and Jose takes the tree. Okay, let it be Jose's tree and Jose's problem again. Like the boys can say, what's the lashon of the boys can? Tzadik metzora nechlitz v'yacher tachtav hasakona yochel al roish hagoy bilvad.
San Jose deserves it
something
anyway.
happens, it'll happen to the good.
Yeah. If the goy
Same Jose. Except in the case of the truth of sakana, then they send. Then he gives the San Jose.
with the sand, exactly. Yeah.
With the oil. Very good.
So we have to teach the goy.
Are we allowed to put a
Okay, so that's why only in the case when it's on the brink, not if it's clearly also. Clearly, when you give me has to show up, give it to the
But let's say there's a small
state legislature.
Let's say you have a cup of water, and there's a 5%
Only Jews do that.
Am I allowed to operate to a goy? I mean, it's very unlikely, but it's still possible.
Because it could be the goy is for the goy, it's not poison. Could be for the goy, it's not poison.
The city of New York, when it's shooting a movie, it's very important for the revenue of the city of New York.
Miller has a whole chapter.
It has a law that if a tree is necessary for the shooting, they can chop it down, they can cut it down. I've seen it. However, they've got to replace it. I saw it myself because I was in
Today there is a movement about people being responsible for the environment. It's not so wacky It's one of the Tayyag mitzvahs that a person, even though we're fighting a war against the Goyim, and we want to anger them, we want to upset them, so we want to chop down their fruit tree, the Torah says it's also. No, the house is a purpose. Once you get into, sure we could burn. We have to burn their houses. What do you think? If we're not going to burn the houses, they're going to stay there, and we'll have tzoros from them.
We don't have
yeah, for sure,
Wipe them out.
Wipe them out. But don't chop their cherry trees. Kill them, and don't chop the cherry trees. The ikar is, we see from this that this thing that a human being is responsible for the environment is not faked. It comes. It's in the contrary. The contrary, someone that doesn't believes in evolution, believes that so forget. Why should a person be a good steward of the planet? It's going to go up in smoke anyway eventually. So might as well enjoy it while it's here and add some rubber to the fire. But if you believe that the Eibishter created the world in 6 days, and the Eden have to be metaken through a spiritual tikkun. And the Goyim have to be metaken in the world by physically making it l'sheves yitzora, a nice place, and therefore there's one of the Tayyag mitzvahs is loy tashchitz es eitza, and lanius daiti. This could be that there's a mitzvah also for Goyim, and therefore all the Goyim that have spent a lot of time to preserving creating beautiful national parks and preserving this the quality of the year, are not wasting their time. They're doing a good thing.
Right. Why most of these people, half of them are Jewish. All these environmental groups, they're all Jewish.
Because it's in the Yiddish and Sham. The problem is in the sky. They have to teach the Goyim to do it. They have to sit in Beis Medrash and Torah.
Right.
And the Goyim are the ones that are supposed to do that.
Right.
So the Neshama is toys. They're getting a little bit.
Right. We have to eat Beis Menachem Mendel, not Al Gore's mansion.
It's how far do we go? Like, buy electric cars.
So how far to go? We have just a few minutes. I want to go to the next Sheilah, and we'll talk later about how far to go. 10 years ago, this Sheilah was asked. Israel had the problem. Then they had the campaign in Gaza. It was called Iron Cast. And it came out that there was a few officers, commanding officers in the IDF, that told they had this thing when they get out. Remember, the last what's it called? Grenade? Cast lead. The last grenade you save for yourself. So what was this idea? The idea was that they said if Rahman al-Islam, the terrorists get a hold of a soldier, then there's so much trouble. First of all, the soldier never gets tortured, and then they try to squeeze, one to exchange, and then if Israel tries an operation to save the soldier, it's so that you know what the last grenade. Save for yourself. You should commit suicide. The officers were trying to get the soldiers to have it in their head that if Chas v'Shalom they feel they're captured, they should immediately commit suicide. One of these soldiers was a frumi, asked a Sheilah, are you allowed to commit suicide if Charachmon Litzlan in this case? Yes or no? So let's read it very fast. I'm sorry that the Sheilah don't have much time for it. Tshuva. It says in the Parsha, and Rashi says the Gemara learns from it that a person is not allowed to spill his blood. So the Sheilah is, in this case, look in the story of Shmuel. Shmuel Aleph Perek Lamed Aleph. Here, I want you to look inside. It's beautiful. Which Plishtim Nilchamim BeYisrael ve'inus an sheYisrael Plishtim ve'yiplo chalol b'ha'em Gilboya ve'yadbiku Plishtim es Shol v'zbona ve'yaku Plishtim es Yonasan v'es Avi Nodov v'es Malkishua b'nei Shol v'tich b'dam al-chom el Shol v'imtzu ha'moyrim ha'noshim v'akoshes v'yochel v'yoyid ma'moyrim. That the Plishtim threw and they hit Shol, and he was starting to bleed. He said, Shaul said to his bodyguard, take your sword and kill me. Maybe the Goyim will capture me and they will torture me. And the Noach Caleb didn't want to listen. So he took the sword and he jumped on the sword.
Wow.
And he died. When his assistant saw that, so he did the same thing. He took the sword, he jumped on the sword, and he died. All his people that were around him, they Rachmana litzlan died that day. The Medrash Rabbi says in this Parsha and Noach, in this pasuk, Achas dimchem lach shusechem edrish yochul kishol hamelech, that Shaul HaMelech will get punished for committing suicide. Talmud Loima ach is always a miut. Ach means person not allowed to spill his blood, and there is an exception. What's the exception? Shaul HaMelech is the exception. Why was Shaul an exception? So there's 6 times, if you look at the Parsha, 6 times. One is, Beis Yosef brings some from Zion. And he says, Parsha, if a person knows that he's going to have Yisurim, if he's captured, there's a vada they're going to torture him. So, and he doesn't want to be tortured. So he's allowed to commit suicide to avoid the torture. And there is a huge shekel of Ataya about this. The Gemara says like the story of Reb Chanani ben Tradian and Rabbi Yudches, that when the Romans were killing him and they were burning him, which is the most painful death, Talmidim said, Rebbe psach picha b'karnas b'cha eish, open your mouth, the fire will go in, you'll die quicker. He said, Mutav sheyitlana mishanosna bi v'al yitlana ba'atzmai. He said, the Eibishter gave me the neshama, he's going to take it, I'm not going to do it on my own.
You don't feel pain anyway when you die on Kiddush Hashem.
It's a good story, I didn't think of that.
Is that true?
The Tashbitz, the Fetish Tashbitz, it's a good ayah. So some say it says
When
from
they
this.
open his mouth, Mach Shtois.
But maybe they didn't know. But that's a good answer. Some say it says we see from this that the halacha is not like the Beis Yosef, and a person is not allowed to commit suicide to avoid Yisurim.
But the king was different, right?
Oh well. He's so no. So he holds like the second shot because the Beis Yosef brings it was Taka Shaloi B'Rotzen Chachamim. He won't be punished, but it was Shaloi B'Rotzen Chachamim.
But understand, the king could be different because that would be a tremendous boost of morale.
So that's one of the other two. It's a B'Chil Hashem because he was Mashiach Hashem.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. There's 6 answers.
When Dog killed Goliath, the whole that they ran and pushed him out.
Right. So there's 6 answers why it was the nafkamina is to these soldiers. According to the first answer, it's mutter because it's a vade goma that when the Arab terrorists, Rahman al-Islam, get their hands on a Jew, that they're going to torture him.
Every soldier knows
so every soldier knows that. So according to the first teretz, it's mutter gomer. But according to the other,
it's not Yisurim. It's terror. You can't call Yisurim terror. Torture.
Why can't you call it Yisurim?
That's beyond. It's beyond.
You're saying you don't know what kind of
Beyond Yisurim. Okay, so fine. So it's mutter. So basically, it's mutter.
Emotional pain.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's mutter.
Yeah.
But the second teretz is that it was not mutter. And there's another story that all the places can talk about, and that's the famous story in Gittin of Nun Zayin. The story is told that when the Romans had a ship with 400 kids, and the kids realized that where are they being shipped? The colon, Rome.
Prostitutes.
Yeah, to be prostitutes. So the girl said, the kids said the girls jumped in and to die because they said the pasuk that the Eibishter is going to bring back all the Yidden that died on Kiddush Hashem, so if the Eibishter is going to bring us back, what? They jumped. And the boys made a kal v'chomer. That girls, not it's terrible, but it's more the derech ha'olam that Rahman al-Islam, that women are being forced, and boys, for them to be forced is not so derech ha'olam. It's like more egregious. So madach, these girls that they're called karka olam, and also they're not over any isur. A boy is over a isur. So madach, they went to Kiddush Hashem. We're going to go Kiddush Hashem, and they jumped in. All the boys jumped, and the girls, and these 400 kids. So how are they allowed to do it? The Rabbeinu Tam says that toises. You almost smell the Middle Ages when you hear Rabbeinu Tam talking here. Rabbeinu Tam says that when a person knows there's going to be an Nisayon and he might be tortured and not withstand the Nisayon, we learn from this story that it's a mitzvah to go commit suicide.
Wow.
Like when I say you almost smell, because you know the stories in the Middle Ages in Eden, right? The Hasidei Ashkenaz went and they killed their children, their wives, and then they went and killed themselves. So when the Rabbeinu Tam is talking here, it's not Stam Epes Almondas and Atoisvus. You know that the Rabbeinu Tam is talking about
Personal experience.
right. So that is
all
also
the
one of
Sheilos, all the Sheilos.
right.
Even in his grandfather's time, the Crusaders passed through Troy. And the king said to Rashi, was he going to win or not? You said that story, no?
Right. The story that
No story.
that says, yeah.
Rashi's
Rashi's
later on.
Right. Halacha's coming later in the time. This was a very relevant question. Let's go to the third answer. Third mahalach is lahatzal hudim achedim shenikol Yisrael yinatzal atzila ve'rachmon al-tzlan yehorga she'yod ha'soifa yam shel shlema v'bekama. The yam shel shlema says like this. Interesting teretz. He says the Klal Yisrael is going to try to save Shaul. Now Shaul knows. Last night he went to the witch, the Balas Oiv. A whole story. Shmuel told him, "Machar atu banecha imi." Tomorrow you're going to be in heaven. So he knew that no one could save him. The Navi told him, "Machar atu banecha imi."
So why he went?
So now he went because that's a separate question. But now, if he's a morbid, why did he go? He's going to be killed anyway. Why be killed? Why be killed in a basement when he could be killed like a king? He went. He did his job. He knew that Shmuel didn't tell him don't go to war.
Says
Yeah. Oh, the Yam Shishlam is saying an opposite word to me. He's saying because he knew Avad that he's dying. If he's not going to commit suicide, what's going to happen? The Jews are going to try to save him, and then their life is in sakona. Their life is in sakona. So in order to save the other Jews, he wanted when the other Jews will see that he committed suicide, what are they going to do? They're going to run away. As long as the king is fighting, they're going to fight with him. So he wanted to be matzil the other Jews. According to this teretz, there is a little bit of room to think that if a soldier thinks that the IDF will later initiate an operation to save him, and they're going to try to, in the process of rescuing him, other soldiers are going to be in terrible danger. He doesn't want to have that headache on his conscience. He wants to Rahman al-Islam So according to the Yam Shel Shloim, it's mutter.
Right. And you know what? Not only that, they have in Eretz Yisrael something called the Hannibal critical. And once a soldier is captured, they send unasoif missiles into that area, and they blow up tremendous. It's bad PR because they bring out kids that are dead. They show it on the television, and it causes pogroms in France.
Yeah, but they'll go try to rescue the body.
Right. So it's putting it in Sakon in the ganze Welt.
It happened a lot of times. Soldier was captured, and another group went to save him, and from this group, 5 or 6 got killed. I know a friend of mine went to rescue and he got killed.
So there, according to Yam Shel Shloima, a soldier is allowed to say, "That's it." Next text.
That's Torah anyway.
Huh?
The IDF doesn't use that
I
Torah.
understand, but the religious soldiers that ask this
that's what I'm
question.
saying. So it's even Halacha is kind of more. If they were going, they were sitting down over a Gemara or Shulchan and saying, "Oh, how do we do this now? What's up Halacha?" They would probably say, "For sure, he can do it." But they,
No.
they
weren't thinking of Halacha. But
I'm saying they should. The soldier knows that they're not.
That's the
Well,
thing.
they
They were not asking. The fourth tenet was that because the Navi told him, similar to what we said before, but just simple, like the Navi told him that that's it. So he was like dead man walking. So he said, "What's the difference?" Number 5 is Chilul Hashem. Matzkun and the Medrash says because he was Mashiach Hashem, if they're going to capture him, the Chilul Hashem will be unbelievable. Chilul Hashem. So it was mutter. And
Although, but they're going to have his dead body. It's also bad Chilul Hashem. What's the Chilul?
I guess it's not the same.
What's the
I guess
Chilul
it's not the same. What's the Chilul Hashem?
That he's the Mashiach Hashem. He's the king of the Jews, and look at him.
Right.
They captured him.
They captured him.
Oh, that.
Look what they did to
No, it's not
Shimshon when
with
they
the
captured
soldier.
him.
It's not with the soldier.
No, the soldiers.
Well, that'd be a Kiddush Hashem. Would that be a Kiddush Hashem? But I don't understand, why didn't Shaul Melech still have the Sharas that they should get to create him in their miracle? I know he was going to have to die, but I'm saying, you're saying that he knows he's going to die. Well, he knows he's going to die. Maybe there's going to be an earthquake like happened to, what's his name, the Syrian king.
It was good enough to be martyred that he's allowed to kill himself.
What's the Novi told it to him?
Yeah, but the Abish
The
didn't say
Navi
it.
tell it to him is good enough that he's allowed to kill himself.
Still, that you can't be Mavak, you still can be Kabel
That's what it
Hashem.
is. He could be Kabel
You
Hashem.
can still be Kabel
But
Hashem.
he's allowed to. That's what the Meforshim would say. But at least he was allowed to. He was strong enough that he's allowed to go kill himself. And he was also wounded. It says Vayechel me'oid.
And he also knew that the Maluk was going to go to Yehuda.
Well, he was told about that. The last thing is, the Tosfos says, if a person is going to have an assignment in the Emunah, and Chas v'Shalom he thinks he's going to be tortured, he's going to have to be Oiven and Aveda, then he's allowed to. Lamaisa, what is it that? So this is in the Sefer about Ev. No, he said he asked his father, and Eliyashi said, it's a machloikas hapoiskim here. This is his son-in-law, Zilberstein. Zilberstein wants to have these. This is from the Sefer about Ev. No, he said he asked it of Eliyashi. Eliyashi told him, listen, it's a machloikas. If you hold like the Rabbeinu Tam, if you hold like the Beis Yosef, it's mutter. If you hold like the other Meforshim, it's also. So how can we pass in anything like this? So he said like this. He would say it's osur.
Sell the grenade to the guy. Sell the grenade.
He said it's osur. He says it's osur l'daitoi. Interesting. However, if a soldier went and did it, then it's chas v'sholem for anyone to say that he was ma'abed atzma l'das, because he relied on the Beis Yosef. Obviously, his body needs to be retrieved and get the full honor as a kodesh, and toher, and yuzayid, and everything. The Chatchila would say it's also for the soldiers. The Ava that he already did it, then he has good place to rely on. Third Sheilos. So we do Birchas Hakeshes B'zman Hazeh. The Alter Rebbe doesn't bring it. When you see a Keshes. And the Rebbe says that even though the Alter Rebbe doesn't bring the Hilchas B'Sanan, the Rebbe says Ayom Yoim that we should make the bracha, and the Rebbe in Tovshin Nun Beis said because the sun is Shemesh Havaya, Eid Yalam in the Horetz is when the mist goes up, that's Avodah Samata. The Yudke Vavke is Shemesh Havaya.
Magen Havaya.
Shemesh Havaya, Magen Hashem Lakim. So the Avodah Hashem, when a Yid does Avodah Hashem, so then he's Megala that in Shem Lakim there is Yudke Vavke. And that's where you get the beautiful color of the rainbow. That from when Yudke Vavke shines in through Elikim. That Fabring and the Rebbe spoke, and we'll learn the Sikha tonight, all about the Kiddush Levana. And that Fabring and the Rebbe finished, was unbelievable. The Rebbe said that when he saw that there's nothing, what are we waiting for? Mashiach has to come. And then the Rebbe said, it's like the Nigga from Yom Kippur, 7 times, Avayo Elikim. The Rebbe explained also, he said this, you don't say 7 times the same thing. Every time you're revealing a higher darga, there's Yudke, Vavke, the Layla, the Zohar says, the Layla, the Layla. So when you say Yom Kippur 7 times, it's not 7 times the same thing. It's 7 different levels in Yudke, Vavke that you're revealing into this world. The Rebbe said 7 times, like it was if it was Yom Kippur, with the Nigga. Hashem Ulikim, Hashem Ulikim. The Rebbe said it 7 times, and then it says, Lashon HaBab Yerushalayim. Wow, that was the Rebbe.
By the way, on a light note,